Morning, the number of people killed in Israel since Saturday's horrific terror attack has climbed to 1,200, and these are primarily civilians. More than 900 have also been killed in Gaza, which is under heavy bombing by the Israeli Air Force.
Well, Defence Minister Yoav Gallant says he's released all restraints on his troops and the enclave will never return to what it was. The escalating violence started when the Hamas terror group crossed into Israel by air, land and sea to carry out a massacre. Well, joining us now is Daniel Berger from Magen David Adom, which is the UK branch of Israel's National Blood and Medical Emergency Service. Daniel, this must be an incredibly unprecedented time for you at the moment.
Good morning. Yes, absolutely. Something I've never seen, so many of my peers have never seen in our lifetime. Waking up to the devastating news Saturday morning on the 50th anniversary of the Yom Kippur War, we were just in utter disbelief, and within an hour or two of seeing the news, seeing one of our own murdered on an ambulance shift in a Red Cross ambulance, shot at, is just, it defies belief. And we're still coming to terms with it. We're still in a state of shock. It's just the most horrific atrocity.
And can you tell us a little bit more about the company that you work with and the work that you do?
Yes, absolutely. So I represent the UK arm of the Israeli Red Cross. Magen David Adom literally translates from the Hebrew of Red Star or Red Shield of David and is Israel's National Red Cross Society.
And have you been deployed out there at the moment, or are you collecting or asking for blood donations in the UK to send over there?
So this is something loads of people, and I'm genuinely bowled over by the support and love from the community, national communities, asking whether they can give blood. Our job in the UK, really, all we can do is sit here helplessly and raise funds. In Israel, I'm saying to people, if you're in Israel, if you're a British citizen there, if you're a local Israeli, go give blood. And we're seeing queues of people giving blood, 4, 5, 6 hours to line up and give blood. It is absolutely remarkable.
And you talked about how your organisation, which does an amazing amount of work, is the equivalent of the British Red Cross, and yet it would be fair to say from reports that your crews, whilst doing this, whilst trying to receive blood to save people's lives, have come under attack from Hamas terrorists.
Yes, absolutely. Murdered. I mean, even not more than attacks. It's something we never thought we'd have to see, and it's utterly shocking.
Can I ask you on a personal level? We had an incredible young lady on the show yesterday, Georgia Barnett, who was talking about she'd been in Tel Aviv, she was going to go to the music festival, she came back, she wasn't there. And from a human point of view, I just want to talk to you. I mean, you work and you do an amazing job for the Israeli Red Cross. I've been talking quite a lot about this morning because I think this is... I have several Jewish friends, and I was sent an article last night, and I think this is ISIS-like. I think this is a seminal moment. When and I'd like your reaction to this, I'm just being honest. Despite what we've heard, despite the atrocities of these killings, there were people outside the Sydney Opera House, on the streets of London and Berlin, shouting stuff that I don't even want to say, basically death to the Jewish community. What does that do to you personally as a Jewish man, and what does it do to Jews around the world? Does it inspire them? Does it bring them closer together?
It definitely brings people closer together. I think to celebrate any act of genocide is disgusting. When we hear the statistics that this is the worst mass killing of the Jewish community since the Holocaust, and there are survivors still alive and who remember that horrific time, that dark part of history, to remember that and to see it is something beyond horrific. One of our vice presidents and a former board member was the sole person standing up at the Labour Party conference shouting to 100 pro-Palestinian protesters, and he's being shouted down, so shame on him. And we're talking, and what we're seeing in the papers and the press, it really hurts us all.
Sorry, Nick, I don't mean to. I just want to say this. The other part of this article that I was given by this Jewish friend was that you know, the world recoiled in horror when George Floyd was murdered, and rightly so. The world recoiled in horror when the Ukraine war happened. But there are many social commentators and people who I think should know better who aren't as vocal as they perhaps should be. You used a word just then, which I think is absolutely true. This is genocide or attempted genocide against the Jewish population, and it needs to be stopped. But the problem is that when you sit in studios like this or you read newspapers, people will say, well, what about the poor Palestinians who will suffer? What is your answer to that?
We are an humanitarian organisation. I think the work of the Palestinian Red Crescent is remarkable. I feel any loss of civilian life is deplorable, and I'm genuinely saddened for the poor innocent Palestinians who are run by this Hamas terror regime.
Yeah. And so if people want to help, you said that if we're in the UK, we can't actually donate blood for this specific cause, although people should still donate blood. What can we do? Where can we go if we want to contribute funds to your cause?
Thank you. The best thing people can do is go to our website and support. It's the only way at the moment. MDA is running at an additional burden of £250,000 a day just to be at full operational capacity during these times. And now we have to replace ambulances that have been shot at, one that was burnt out by terrorists. It's horrific.
Have you just finally, David, and I really appreciate everybody who's come on from the Jewish community and talked to us over the last couple of days. Have you been inspired by the world's reaction? Does the world need to do more?
I think a bit of both. I think I'm shocked by some of the silence, but absolutely inspired to see public buildings, to see 10 Downing Street, to see buildings around the world lit up with the Israeli flag is inspirational. I've met some remarkable people, and I'm inspired by the love of Israel. We have an amazing Christian Friends support. We have amazing people, and it's supporting Israel by everyone. And remember, Magen David Adom is served by everyone. It's not a Jewish ambulance service. We have Muslim, Christian drivers too who are being shot at.
Yeah, and that's
Incredible.
so important to say that you're not, treating people according to religion, but according to their need. Thank you so much for